Jordan stepped out of the car and looked up at the mountain resort. Pine trees surrounded the place, and the air smelled fresh and cold. This weekend was supposed to be relaxing, just a company team-building trip away from the city. Jordan worked in marketing, usually sitting quietly at a desk, answering emails, and creating campaigns. This trip felt unnecessary, but the boss insisted everyone come. The lobby was warm and decorated with wooden furniture. Jordan walked to the front desk with a small travel bag. The woman behind the counter smiled and asked for a name. After typing on her computer, her smile faded. She frowned, clicked her mouse a few times, then looked up with an apologetic expression. There was a problem with the booking. The resort was completely full because of some big conference happening nearby. Every room was taken. Jordan felt confused. The company had made these reservations months ago. How could there be an issue now? The manager came over and explained. Due to a system error, 2 people from the company were assigned to the same cabin. Jordan and someone named Alex from the sales team. Jordan knew Alex only by sight. The person who was always laughing in the break room, surrounded by other employees. They had never spoken beyond a quick hello in the hallway. Jordan asked if there was another option. The manager shook her head. Every hotel within 50 miles was booked solid. It was either share the cabin or drive back to the city. Jordan sighed. Driving back meant disappointing the boss and missing the whole weekend. Maybe the cabin had 2 beds. That would be fine. 20 minutes later, Jordan stood outside cabin number 7. The door was wooden with a small window. Inside, it looked cozy. There was a stone fireplace, a small kitchen area, and large windows showing the forest outside. But then Jordan saw it. 1 bed. Just 1 queen-sized bed in the middle of the room with a thick blanket folded at the end. Jordan's stomach dropped. This was going to be awkward. The door opened behind them. Alex walked in carrying a larger bag and stopped immediately. They looked at the bed, then at Jordan, then back at the bed. For a moment, nobody spoke. Alex broke the silence first. This was unexpected. Jordan agreed. They both stood there, not sure what to say. Alex suggested calling the front desk again, but Jordan explained there were no other options. Alex ran a hand through their hair and laughed, but it sounded nervous. They would have to make this work. It was only for 2 nights. Alex walked over to the small couch near the fireplace and sat down. Testing it. Too short. Nobody could sleep there comfortably. Jordan suggested building a barrier with pillows down the middle of the bed. They spent the next hour unpacking and trying to act normal. Alex talked about the drive up, mentioning traffic and a podcast they listened to. Jordan nodded and gave short answers. The tension in the room felt thick. Every time they passed each other in the small space, both would step aside awkwardly. Dinner was at the main lodge with the whole team. Jordan sat at one end of the table, Alex at the other. They avoided eye contact. Other co-workers talked loudly about the activities planned for tomorrow. Trust exercises, team challenges, some kind of obstacle course. Jordan wasn't looking forward to any of it. When they returned to the cabin that night, the bed seemed even bigger. Alex gathered all the spare pillows from the closet and lined them down the center of the mattress. Jordan added a rolled-up blanket for extra security. They laughed a little, both trying to ease the weirdness. They took turns using the bathroom to change. Jordan wore simple pajamas and climbed into bed on the left side. Alex wore a t-shirt and shorts and took the right side. They both lay completely still, staring at the ceiling. The pillow wall between them felt like a necessary boundary. Neither spoke. Jordan could hear Alex breathing. Every small movement of the mattress was noticeable. Jordan tried to relax but couldn't. This was their coworker, someone they barely knew. And now they were sharing a bed. Outside, an owl called. The wind moved through the trees. Jordan closed their eyes and hoped sleep would come quickly. Tomorrow they could focus on the team activities and forget about how strange this situation was. But sleep didn't come easily. Jordan lay awake for what felt like hours, aware of every sound Alex made. At some point, exhaustion finally won. Jordan drifted off, wondering how they would survive another night like this. Morning light came through the cabin windows too early. Jordan woke up feeling tired and stiff. They had barely moved all night, staying locked in one position to avoid accidentally crossing the pillow barrier. Alex was already awake, sitting on the edge of the bed, and looking just as exhausted. They got ready without talking much. Both moved carefully around the small cabin, giving each other space. Breakfast was at the lodge again, with the whole team gathered around tables covered with eggs, toast, and coffee. Jordan loaded a plate and found a quiet corner. Alex sat with the louder members of the sales team, laughing at someone's joke. After breakfast, the team leader announced the first activity. Everyone would be paired randomly for trust exercises. Names were pulled from a hat. When Jordan's name was called, they waited. Then they heard Alex's name right after. Of course. They were partners for the day. The first exercise involved falling backward and trusting your partner to catch you. Jordan stood with their back to Alex, arms crossed over their chest. The instructor said to let go and fall. Jordan hesitated. Alex spoke quietly from behind, saying they wouldn't let Jordan hit the ground. Something in their voice sounded genuine. Jordan took a breath and fell back. Alex's hands caught them firmly. They did it several times, switching positions. Each time, the trust grew a little. It was strange how something so simple could make Jordan feel connected to someone they barely knew. The next activity was harder. Partners had to solve a puzzle while one person was blindfolded. Alex tied the cloth around Jordan's eyes. Darkness surrounded everything. Alex guided Jordan's hands to different puzzle pieces, describing shapes and colors. Their voice stayed calm and patient. Jordan found themselves listening carefully, trusting each word. When they finished, Jordan removed the blindfold. Alex was smiling. A real smile that reached their eyes. They had worked well together. The instructor praised their teamwork. Jordan felt something warm in their chest. Something unexpected. Lunch was sandwiches by the lake. Jordan and Alex ended up sitting together on a bench. Other co-workers were scattered around, enjoying the sun. Alex started talking about growing up with 3 siblings, always competing for attention at the dinner table. Jordan listened and shared about being an only child, spending hours alone reading books and drawing. Alex asked what kind of books Jordan liked. Old mysteries and classic stories, Jordan answered. Alex's face lit up. They loved old movies, especially black and white films from the 1940s. Jordan admitted to watching those too. They started listing their favorites, discovering they had similar taste. The conversation flowed easier now. Alex made a terrible pun about a movie title. Jordan groaned, but laughed. Alex seemed pleased with themselves. The awkwardness from the morning was disappearing. That afternoon, they had more team challenges. Racing through an obstacle course, building something together with limited supplies, navigating a path while communicating only through gestures. Every activity put Jordan and Alex closer. They developed a rhythm, learning how the other thought and moved. By dinner time, Jordan realized they had actually enjoyed the day. Alex was funny and thoughtful, different from the always confident person Jordan had observed at work. There was more depth there than Jordan expected. They walked back to cabin 7 together as the sun set. The pillow wall was still on the bed from last night. Alex looked at it and laughed. Maybe they didn't need quite so many pillows. Jordan agreed, feeling less nervous now. They removed a few pillows, but kept a small boundary. Alex suggested watching something on their laptop. Jordan grabbed it, and they both climbed into bed, sitting up against the headboard. Alex found an old movie online, one they had talked about at lunch. The laptop balanced between them. As the movie played, Jordan noticed how close they were sitting. Their shoulders touched. Neither pulled away. The small contact felt significant. Jordan tried to focus on the screen but kept thinking about the warmth next to them. They laughed at the same jokes in the movie. When a dramatic scene played, both leaned forward at the same time. Alex glanced over, and their eyes met for a second. Jordan looked away quickly, feeling their face warm. When the movie ended, they settled down to sleep. The pillow barrier was smaller now, almost meaningless. Jordan lay on their side, facing away from Alex. But they could feel the presence behind them, closer than last night. The bed didn't feel as big anymore. Jordan closed their eyes, heart beating faster than it should. Sleep came easier this time. But dreams were filled with confused feelings Jordan couldn't quite name. Jordan woke in the middle of the night to complete darkness. The power was out. Rain hammered against the cabin roof and thunder rumbled in the distance. The storm must have knocked out the electricity. Jordan sat up slowly, trying to let their eyes adjust. Next to them, Alex stirred. They asked if Jordan was awake. Jordan said yes. Another crack of thunder shook the windows. Jordan flinched without meaning to. Alex noticed and asked if storms bothered them. Jordan hesitated, then admitted that loud thunder had scared them since childhood. It felt silly to say out loud. Alex didn't laugh. They suggested lighting the fireplace so they would have some light. Jordan agreed and climbed out of bed carefully. Alex found matches on the mantel and got a fire started. Orange light filled the cabin, pushing back the darkness. The warmth felt good. They both sat on the floor near the fireplace, wrapped in blankets from the bed. The storm continued outside but felt less threatening with the fire burning. Alex started talking to distract Jordan from the thunder. They asked about Jordan's childhood, what it was like being an only child. Jordan talked about quiet afternoons spent drawing and reading. About parents who worked long hours and a house that always felt too big and empty. About learning to be comfortable alone but sometimes wishing for someone to talk to. The words came easier in the dim firelight. Alex listened without interrupting. When Jordan finished, Alex shared their own story. Growing up with siblings meant never being alone, but also never being truly seen. Everyone assumed Alex was the confident, funny one, so that's the role they played. At work, it was exhausting to always be on. Always charming. Always ready with a joke. Sometimes Alex just wanted to be quiet without people asking what was wrong. Jordan understood that feeling differently than expected. Being invisible and being seen only as one thing were both lonely in their own ways. They talked about work, about feeling like they were performing instead of being real. The conversation went deeper than Jordan had talked with anyone in months. Hours passed. The storm began to fade. Alex yawned and suggested they try to sleep. The fire had burned down to glowing coals. They climbed back into bed, and this time, there was no pillow wall at all. They had removed it before the movie and never put it back. Jordan lay on their side, facing the windows. Rain still tapped gently against the glass. Behind them, Alex settled in close, not touching, but near enough that Jordan could feel the warmth. Alex's breathing slowed and deepened as they fell asleep. Jordan stayed awake longer, very aware of every inch between their bodies. Alex's hand rested on the mattress near Jordan's. If either of them moved slightly, their fingers would touch. Jordan's heart beat loudly in their chest. This feeling was confusing and clear at the same time. Something had shifted between them. Jordan couldn't pretend otherwise. These weren't just polite coworkers sharing a cabin anymore. The conversations, the laughter, the moments of understanding. Jordan finally drifted to sleep as the storm ended, wrapped in warmth and possibility. Morning came too bright. Jordan opened their eyes and froze. They had turned during the night. Alex had too. They were facing each other now, close enough to see details. A small scar on Alex's eyebrow, the way their eyelashes curved. They were still asleep. Jordan didn't move, afraid to break whatever this moment was. Alex's eyes opened slowly. For several seconds, they just looked at each other. Neither spoke. The air felt charged with something unspoken. Then reality crashed in. They worked together. This weekend would end tomorrow. What were they doing? Jordan pulled back and sat up quickly. Alex did the same, running a hand through messy hair. The moment shattered. They got ready in awkward silence. The closeness from last night felt like a dream now. Jordan packed their things with more force than necessary, confused and frustrated with themselves. Alex was quiet too. Their usual confidence dimmed. The day's activities felt long. Jordan and Alex were polite but distant. Other coworkers noticed and made comments about their cabin buddies not talking today. Jordan's face burned with embarrassment. Alex looked uncomfortable too. That evening, the resort hosted a bonfire for all the guests. The team gathered around the fire, roasting marshmallows and telling stories. Jordan sat on a log bench, staring into the flames. Alex appeared and sat next to them without asking. Someone handed them a blanket to share since the night was cold. Under the blanket, hidden from everyone else, Alex's hand found Jordan's. The simple touch sent electricity through Jordan's whole body. They didn't pull away. Alex's fingers wrapped around theirs gently. They sat like that for an hour, not speaking, just connected, while the fire burned and their coworkers laughed around them. When the bonfire ended, they walked back to cabin 7 together. The path was dark and quiet. Inside, they stood facing each other in the small space. The bed waited behind them. Tomorrow they would leave this place and go back to regular life. Alex spoke first, voice quiet. Was this crazy? Jordan's throat felt tight. Maybe, they answered. But they stepped closer anyway. Alex reached up slowly and touched Jordan's face. Jordan's breath caught. They were so close now. Alex leaned in. Jordan could feel their breath. This was happening. But fear grabbed Jordan suddenly. This could ruin everything. Their job, their peace, their safety. Jordan stepped back quickly, heart pounding. Alex's hand dropped. Their expression showed disappointment, but also understanding. They got ready for bed in silence. Both lay down with careful space between them this time. Jordan stared at the ceiling, feeling the loss of something that never quite happened. Next to them, Alex was quiet. Neither slept well that night. The last morning came too fast. Jordan woke early and started packing. This was it. The weekend was over. Soon, they would drive back to the city, and everything would return to normal. Except it wouldn't feel normal. Jordan knew that now. Alex packed their bags slowly, folding clothes with unusual care. They made small talk about the weather and the drive home. Neither mentioned last night or the almost kiss that still hung in the air between them. Jordan wanted to say something but didn't know what words would be right. At checkout, the manager apologized again for the room mix-up. Jordan said it was fine. Alex echoed the same. They didn't look at each other. Other coworkers were loading into cars, talking about getting back to their families and regular routines. Jordan felt heavy inside. The drive back was quiet. Jordan rode with some people from accounting who talked about sports. Alex was in a different car. Jordan watched the mountains disappear through the window and felt something ending that never properly began. Monday morning at the office felt strange. Jordan sat at their desk, trying to focus on email campaigns and client reports. Everything looked the same but felt different. Around 10 in the morning, Alex walked past Jordan's cubicle. They made eye contact for a second. Alex smiled, small and uncertain. Jordan smiled back. Then Alex kept walking. That became the pattern. Polite smiles in the hallway. Careful distance in the break room. If they ended up in the same meeting, Jordan told themselves this was better, safer. They could forget the cabin and the firelight conversations and go back to being strangers who worked in the same building. But forgetting proved impossible. Jordan thought about Alex constantly. While eating lunch alone, the memory of Alex's hand touching their face played on repeat. Jordan regretted pulling away. Fear had won, and now Jordan was left with nothing but what-ifs. 2 weeks passed this way. Jordan grew quieter at work. Co-workers stopped inviting them to lunch. It was easier to be alone. At least alone was familiar. One Thursday evening, Jordan stayed late to finish a presentation. The office emptied as people went home. By 7, the floor was dark, except for Jordan's desk lamp. Numbers and graphs blurred on the screen. Jordan rubbed tired eyes and considered giving up for the night. Footsteps sounded behind them. Jordan turned. Alex stood there, holding a jacket and looking surprised. They had come back for something forgotten in their desk. Neither expected to see the other. An awkward pause filled the space. Then Alex asked if Jordan was working late. Jordan nodded and gestured at the computer screen. Alex walked closer and looked at the presentation. They offered a suggestion about the layout that actually made sense. Jordan made the change. Alex pointed out another improvement. They ended up working on it together for 20 minutes. When it was finished, silence fell again. This was the longest they had been alone since the cabin. Alex sat on the edge of Jordan's desk. The office was completely empty now. Alex spoke carefully. They asked if they could talk about what happened at the resort. Jordan's stomach tightened. But they said okay. Alex took a breath and admitted thinking about those nights constantly. The conversations. The firelight. The moment they almost kissed. All of it stayed with Alex, refusing to fade. Jordan felt their eyes sting. They had thought about it too. Every day. Alex asked why Jordan pulled away. Jordan tried to explain the fear. Fear of ruining their work situation. Fear of getting hurt. Fear of wanting something that might disappear. The words came out messy, but honest. Alex listened and understood. But they asked if Jordan wanted to try this for real. No shared cabin. No forced situation. Just dinner and honesty. Just two people seeing if this feeling meant something outside the mountains. Alex's voice shook slightly while asking. They were nervous too. Jordan looked at Alex. Really looked. This person who made them laugh. Who caught them during trust falls. Who held their hand by the bonfire. Who shared real thoughts in the firelight. Fear was still there, but wanting was stronger. Jordan said yes. They planned dinner for Saturday. Alex suggested a quiet restaurant downtown. Jordan agreed. They left the office together, talking more easily now. At the parking garage, they said goodnight. Alex touched Jordan's arm briefly before walking to their car. That small touch carried hope. Saturday arrived. Jordan changed clothes 3 times before settling on something casual but nice. Nerves made their hands shake. This was different from the cabin. This was a choice, deliberate and real. The restaurant was small with dim lighting and soft music. Alex was already there, sitting at a corner table. They stood when Jordan arrived, smiling genuinely. Dinner was easy. They talked about everything except work. Alex told stories about their family. Jordan shared more about their quiet childhood. They laughed at the same things. The nervous energy faded into comfort. This felt right. When dinner ended, Alex walked Jordan to their car. The night air was cool, and the street was quiet. They stood together, neither wanting the evening to finish. Alex asked if Jordan wanted to continue talking, maybe at Jordan's place if that was okay. Jordan said yes immediately. Jordan's apartment was small and filled with books. Alex looked around with interest, reading titles on the shelves. They sat on the couch together, closer than necessary. The nervousness returned but felt different now. Exciting instead of scary. Alex made a joke about having more than one sleeping option this time. Jordan laughed, then said quietly that they wouldn't have minded sharing again. The honesty felt freeing. Alex moved closer. Their hand found Jordan's face again, just like in the cabin. But this time, Jordan didn't pull away. They kissed slowly, carefully, both of them, smiling against each other's lips. It felt like something beginning instead of ending. When they pulled apart, Alex rested their forehead against Jordan's. This was real. This was happening. They stayed on the couch talking until late, wrapped around each other comfortably. No pillow barriers, no fear. Just two people who found something unexpected and decided to keep it. The weeks after that first real date felt like discovering color after living in black and white. Jordan and Alex took things slow, both of them careful with this new thing between them. They had coffee during lunch breaks, sitting at the cafe across from the office. They texted throughout the day, sharing small jokes and observations. Every interaction felt meaningful. At work, they kept things professional. No one needed to know yet. It felt private and special, something just for them. But Jordan noticed the difference in how they moved through days now. Everything felt lighter. The morning commute was less boring because Jordan knew they would see Alex. Difficult client meetings were easier, knowing someone understood the frustration. Their second date was a movie. Alex picked something old and dramatic. They shared popcorn in the dark theater, hands touching in the bucket. Afterward, they walked through the city talking about the film. Alex held Jordan's hand openly on the street. That simple act made Jordan's chest warm. Being wanted felt incredible. The third date was at Alex's apartment. They cooked dinner together, bumping into each other in the small kitchen and laughing. Alex was terrible at chopping vegetables. Jordan took over that job while Alex handled the stove. It felt domestic and natural. After dinner, they settled on Alex's couch. Music played softly from a speaker. Alex pulled Jordan close, and they stayed like that, wrapped together, talking about nothing important. At some point, Jordan realized this feeling was happiness. Simple and complete. A month passed. Then, Jordan met Alex's loud, loving family at a weekend barbecue. Alex's siblings teased them both mercilessly, but with affection. Jordan felt welcomed and included in a way they rarely experienced. Alex came to Jordan's apartment regularly now, spending nights there, leaving clothes in the closet and a toothbrush by the sink. At work, people started noticing the way Jordan and Alex gravitated toward each other, the shared looks across conference rooms. Eventually, they decided to stop hiding it. They didn't make an announcement, just stopped being careful. When coworkers asked if they were together, they said yes. Most people were happy for them. A few made jokes about the cabin being a perfect setup. Jordan and Alex laughed about it now. That awkward weekend had given them something neither expected to find. One evening, they were back at Jordan's apartment. 3 months had passed since their first date. They were planning a trip together, looking at places online. Alex wanted beaches. Jordan preferred mountains. They compromised on somewhere with both. While browsing photos, Alex grew quiet. Jordan noticed and asked what was wrong. Alex took a breath and said they needed to tell Jordan something. Jordan's stomach dropped, fearing bad news. But Alex smiled and said they were falling in love. Actually, they had already fallen. They just wanted Jordan to know. Jordan felt tears rise unexpectedly. They had been feeling the same thing, but was afraid to say it first. Jordan told Alex they loved them too. The words felt huge and true. They kissed slowly, both of them emotional and happy. Later that night, they lay in Jordan's bed together. This was different from the cabin bed, bigger and familiar. But Jordan remembered that first awkward night vividly. The pillow wall, the stiffness, the fear of moving too close. It felt like a lifetime ago. Alex was curled against Jordan's side, breathing deeply in sleep. Jordan looked at them in the dim light from the window. This person who caught them when they fell. Who shared secrets by firelight. Who made terrible puns and loved old movies. Who saw Jordan completely and stayed. Jordan thought about how random it all was. A booking error. One cabin. One bed. If any detail had been different, they might never have spoken beyond office pleasantries. They would have missed this entirely, but it wasn't random anymore. What started as an accident had become a choice. They chose each other every day now. In small ways and big ones. In morning coffee and goodnight kisses. In meeting families and planning futures. Alex stirred and opened their eyes slightly. They smiled sleepily and asked if Jordan was okay. Jordan said yes, more than okay. Alex hummed, contentedly, and settled closer. Within seconds, they were asleep again. Jordan felt the weight of them. Solid and real, and there. Sometimes the smallest spaces create room for the biggest feelings to grow. Jordan understood that now. That tiny cabin had forced them together physically. But everything after was them choosing closeness. Choosing vulnerability. Choosing love. Jordan closed their eyes. Wrapped in warmth and certainty. Tomorrow, they would wake up together. Make breakfast. Go to work. Live their ordinary life that felt extraordinary because they were living it together. The future stretched ahead, full of possibility. Outside, the city hummed with late-night sounds. Inside Jordan's apartment, two people slept peacefully, no barriers between them. Just trust and love, and the kind of happiness that comes from finding someone who sees you truly and chooses to stay. This was home now. Not a place, but a person. Not an accident, but a choice, made over and over. Jordan drifted into sleep, smiling, grateful for booking errors and single beds, and the courage to say yes when it mattered most.